they live in family flocks, so in all likelihood you will see families flying together, so this could well be the adults with their offspring from this year. Very vocal this morning. And here comes another one. Oop, another youngster. You can see even that the youngsters have got, I think it's possibly even 4 youngsters. I was saying a little bit earlier before we lost signal that Brent's having a little bit of difficulties with his vehicle. That's why we haven't cut across to him to say good morning yet and find out what he's up to. But he is searching around for animals and made his way to Buffelshoek Dam initially, but hasn't come up with anything yet, and hopefully he'll be able to fix up his vehicle, whatever the problem could be there. If he doesn't, at least he's still out there, excuse me, searching for animals, and he can, excuse me, let us know whether he finds anything. So at least there are some extra eyes and ears out here, even if he can't broadcast. It certainly does help to have him out. Well, the good news is that Brent and Andrew have managed to establish whatever the problem was and have now got a broadcast. So that's great news, and we'll cut across to them so that they can say good morning and find out what they've been up to, and myself and Brian will continue on the search for anything interesting. Good morning, everyone. Welcome on Game Drive. I'm with Andrew this morning, and we are checking the north and eastern parts of the reserve for any tracks and any animals. We've had no luck yet, but to answer a question from yesterday, RC from the Netherlands was asking about this plant, which we call dwarf wild sage. It actually has a bunch of other names, but I went to my Indigenous Healing Plant Bible and found what it was. Just remember what page it was on. 256, if I remember correctly. There we go. Sorry, this is quite an old book, but it's called Creeping Sage or Small Sage, and it's a Salvia repens. Let me show you, I can't see where I'm looking. There we go. A creeping sage or small sage. In some of the newer books it's called a dwarf sage, but there we go. Salvia repens. I hope that answers the question for you. Okay, we're going to continue on, see what tracks and whatnot we can find. Hat on. I think it's going to be a stinker of a day. It's already quite warm. That little cold snap we had didn't seem to last too long. Good morning. Sorry, our comms are still giving us a bit of problems. Scott said you might have something on the Buffelshoek cut line.
Yeah, I've got it. Drop the
Copy. Whereabouts on Buffalo Cut Line?
I think I'm from Gallagher Shortcut. Just right east.
Okay, copy. How many stations are with you there?
Just myself, Brent.
Copy. I'd like to be the second station joining you there.
Copy. Where are you now?
At Buffalo West junction with, Buffalo Dam West junction with Buffalo.
Okay, then you just drive west.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ross. Okay, that's quite nice. Something I haven't seen yet since I've been at Juma. There's a big breeding herd of buffalo. So they're on the cut line, so we're going to head west and see if we can see them. Continue westwards over the little rise. And behind that termite mound, you can just see a few horns sticking out through the grass. So if we come and have a look at these guys closest to us, and you can notice immediately the difference between a buffalo cow and a buffalo bull. They don't have those big bosses in between. You can see there's lots of little youngsters around as well. Buffalo don't have a breeding season as such, they breed throughout the year. And quite interestingly, we'll see if we can find one suckling. There we go, that's a nice big cow. See, there's none of that sort of very distinct. That buffalo you're on, Andrew, if you just go back to its back leg and then zoom in a little bit. Oh, she's moving. She's got a wound there. That almost looks like a fungal infection though. It's actually gone raw and there's lots of flies in it. All the flies could be keeping it open. So let's have a look. There's quite a lot of calves in here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear that. But I think I've got an idea. What we're going to do, there's a big termite mound at the head. I'm going to see if we can just get a bit of elevation so we can look down on the herd. Eggs, and they can suckle while on the move. So what this does is enables the herd to remain mobile and the youngsters to still be able to feed while the herd is moving. And you can see that if you go slightly to the right, and that one is also between his mom's legs and suckling. So, and it's quite an interesting feeding method. One unfortunate thing being a little buffalo suckling between your mom's back legs is you quite often get pooed on. And I've seen it a few times while suckling. The poor youngsters have had been defecated on. I'm wondering where all the breeding bulls are. They'll be around. At the moment I can only see some young bulls. Let's see while Andrew pans. I'll see keep coming a little bit. There we go. That guy in the center of the frame now. You can see he's a young bull. You can see his boss is starting to develop, but there's still a lot of hair on it and it's still quite soft. There's another young bull. So they've probably been resting and they'll look to start moving possibly quite shortly, unless they've been moving from early this morning. But it looks like from the flattened grass that they spent the night in this area. So they would have, oh there we go, there's a bit of argy-bargy. So, and these herds will normally drink once a day, sometimes twice a day. And as the seasons become drier, the herds quite often become a bit bigger and they join up with other herds. And that's to avoid predation from lions, because as I'm sure a lot of you have seen, buffalo sometimes are very, very
defensive over the young. Even though if the lions catch a buffalo part of the herd, the bulls will come back and chase the lions off. So in bigger herds, obviously there's more big bulls that make it a bit easier for them to defend against lions. And also with a lot of animals, they're just working on the law of averages. The more of us there are, the less likely I'm the one that's going to get eaten. You see lots of oxpeckers with the herd.
Welcome on board. I've just stumbled across a breeding herd of elephants. So that's great news. We haven't seen elephant for so long. And most of them are crossing from left to right over the road. And I can still see one that needs to cross over, possibly more. So we'll just wait for that one, because it's going to provide us the best view. Tree, which in all likelihood another elephant pushed over a while back. See how she used her foot there to help her break off a clump of grass. Beautiful. I'm just going to creep forward ever so slightly. Hello, boy. You'll notice a fork-tailed drongo in the foreground on a little branch, and they'll follow the elephant as it moves through this vegetation. And what this fork-tailed drongo will do, and I'm sure it'll fly off any moment to stay close to the elephant, because they will hawk insects that the elephant flushes up as it moves through the vegetation. And in just a few seconds, I'm certain we'll see it fly off in the same direction that the elephant headed in. Come on, don't let me down, drongo. Appears like it may just be enjoying the sunshine for now. But at some point I'm almost certain it will follow that elephant. Well, like I said, it's a very thick area, so we're going to leave these elephants to their own devices and cut back to Brent with the herd of buffalo. It's so good to hear that there is a herd of buffalo moving onto our property. We haven't seen them for a long time, and quite often lion follow large herds of buffalo, so good potential prospects for the future. So back to Brent, and we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. We're still with the buffalo. It looks like they're waking up a little bit. Oh, Andrew, in front of me there's a nice big bull, one we were talking about. You can see how he's not nearly as gnarled as those old bulls we found around the waterholes. So he's sort of in his prime breeding bull. So I'm just going to have a quick look. But you can see his boss is fully formed. There's no hair on it. There's actually a perfect example. There to the left is the big bull and to the right is the younger bull. And you can actually, oh, he's been turned around now. But on the younger bulls, you can actually still see the hair growing. So it's not that hard, matted boss yet. So the term generally referred to those younger bulls as a soft boss, whereas that boy has definitely got a hard boss, and he'll be one of the breeding males in the herd. I can see, I've seen about 4 or 5, but there's probably in a herd this size, maybe 15 or 20